Hey there, soccer friends. It's Tomek from Soccer Bedtime Stories. I'm so glad you're here. Before we kick off tonight's adventure, I want to let you in on something super special. This podcast exists because of listeners like you. No big studios, no big money ads, just pure, thoughtful stories that spark imagination, build connection, and help kids and adults drift off dreaming of the beautiful game. If these stories have become a part of your routine, if they make bedtime smoother, inspire your little one or your adult one, or bring a smile to your face, now's the time to join the team. By becoming a member, for just the price of a coffee each month, you're not just supporting the show, you're making sure it keeps growing, stays ad-free, and reaches families around the world who need it most. And here's the kicker. This August, we're releasing our very first novel, based on one of our most beloved episodes, and every paid subscriber will get a free copy on launch day. Don't miss this. Be part of something meaningful. Visit soccerbedtimestories.com or click the link in the description to join today. If it's your first time here, welcome. I hope this story becomes a new favorite. You can always reach us on Instagram at mysoccerbedtime or through our website. Now get cozy, sleep well, dream big, and we'll see you on the pitch, soccer friend. Hello there, soccer friend. Before we drift off tonight, I want to send a special shout out to all the dreamers, fans, and families watching the UEFA Women's European Championships this summer. Whether you're turning in from London or Lagos, Sydney, Toronto, or Tokyo, and cheering from your couch or cuddling on the covers, thank you for being part of this beautiful game. There's something really magical about tournament football, isn't there? The flags, the songs, the drama, the way it brings us all together, hoping, cheering, believing. And right now, across the continent, one name keeps echoing through living rooms, playgrounds, and group chats. Michelle Agyemang. 4 years ago, she was just a ball girl at Wembley, running up and down the touchline with stars in her eyes. Now she's a star herself, scoring not once, but twice to save England from the edge of elimination and carry them into the Euro 2025 final. So tonight, as the stadiums quiet down and the fans head home, let's slip into our comfiest blankets and follow the journey of a girl who never stopped dreaming. The story of a calm finisher, a fearless forward, and a forever gunner. Origins: Michelle Agyemang. The floodlights at Stade de Genève blazed into the night sky, casting long shadows on the pitch. It was the semi-final of Euro 2025, and England's dreams of reaching another final was slipping away. The clock had ticked into stoppage time. 7 minutes had been added, but with each second, Italy's defense looked stronger, more stubborn, and more determined to shut the door on England's hopes. In the 90th minute, Italy surged forward on a fast break. Elizabeth Oliviero unleashed a shot from distance, just over the bar, a warning sign. Then came a flurry of cards and crunching tackles. Michaela Cambiaghi was booked, so was Esme Morgan. The battle was fierce. Kira Walsh had a shot from the edge of the box, blocked. Corner to England. Nothing. Beth Mead was fouled in the 95th minute, free kick awarded. The crowd roared England forward. Then, in the 96th minute, the moment, the miracle, the Pulp pinballed into the box after a scramble. Italy's Giuliani tried to clear it, but the ball floated too high, too soft. Michelle Agyemang was waiting. She didn't panic. She didn't rush. She simply stepped forward and struck it cleanly with her right foot. A low drive from the center of the box to the center of the net. Goal. The stadium shook. Fans leapt from their seats. Commentators shouted her name. Michelle Agyemang had equalized again, just like she did against Sweden in the quarterfinals. This wasn't luck, this was poise, precision, belief. And then, as the referee blew for a full time to send the match into extra time, something magical happened. From the England section of the crowd, slowly at first and louder, came a familiar tune. Sweet Agyemang, ba ba ba. Tears welled in her eyes. Maybe not because she was overwhelmed, but because she felt something deeper, belonging. The Lionesses would go on to score again in extra time, sealing a 2-1 win and book their place in the Euro 2021 final. But that moment stayed with every fan long after the final listen. It wasn't just the goal, it was the chorus. Sweet Agyemang. But before the stadiums and the cheers, before the England shirt and the dramatic goals, Michelle Agyemang was just a girl in South Ockendon, chasing a ball down narrow streets and across schoolyards, dreaming of Arsenal red. Her house sat on a quiet block in Essex, not far from the river, not far from London. Inside it was warm and full of noise, not from TVs or traffic, but perhaps from football debates. Her dad loved Manchester United. He made sure everyone knew it. Her brother was Chelsea blue, and her sister waved the West Ham flag with pride. But Michelle followed her heart. She picked Arsenal and never looked back. She loved the way Oliver Giroud made headers look like art. She adored Theo Walcott's speed, imagining herself flying down the wing just like him. She'd watch games with wide eyes, and then race outside pretending the back fence was a goal at the Emirates. The ball never left her feet, not in the kitchen, not in the hallway, not even at bedtime. Once her mom found her asleep with cleats tucked under her pillow. "Are you planning to dream in them too?" her mom had laughed. Michelle just nodded. At school, Michelle stood out. Not because she tried to, but because she couldn't help it. During recess, she was faster than most of the boys, sharper with her touches, braver with her tackles. One teacher pulled her aside after a lunchtime match and said, "Michelle, the ball listens to you." Not she liked that. Not "you're good" or "you scored a lot." The ball listens to you. That's how it felt, like there was a quiet understanding between her and the game. When she was just 6 years old, her parents took her to a talent day at Arsenal's academy. Michelle didn't say much. She just tied her laces, stepped onto the grass, and let the ball do the talking. The coaches didn't even need a full session. "We'll see you next week," one of them said with a smile. That night, Michelle sat at the dinner table in silence, eyes wide with wonder. "Arsenal," she whispered. "I'm really in." From then on, every day revolved around training. Her school books shared space with cones and boots. Weekends meant matches, bus rides, muddy kits, and packed lunches eaten on the go. But Michelle loved it. She loved the rhythm, she loved the work. She loved the feeling that her dream, though still small, was beginning to bloom. She didn't know what lay ahead. Didn't know that she'd one day score for England, didn't know fans would chant her name in packed stadiums. But she did know one thing. She was born for the game. By the time Michelle turned 15, she was no longer just a promising academy player. She was the player other kids looked up to at training. She was strong, she was sharp, she had a habit of scoring goals out of nowhere. But Michelle didn't just want to be good at youth level. She wanted the Arsenal first team. She'd sit quietly in the stands at Meadow Park, watching stars like Vivian Miedema and Beth Mead glide across the field. She memorized their movement, studied their positioning, imagined herself right there wearing the same badge, only bigger. Then, one day, in November 2022, the chance came. "Pack your boots," her coach said. "You're traveling with the first team to Leicester." Michelle froze. The first team, she whispered. He smiled. Yes, you're ready. That weekend, she pulled on a senior Arsenal kit for the first time. It was too big by a little, but it didn't matter. It felt heavy, but only with pride. She sat on the bench with her heart thudding in her chest, but when the manager called her name to warm up, everything went quiet. She stood on the touchline. The fourth official held up the board. The announcer said her name. Michelle Agyemang, 16-year-old, making her senior debut for Arsenal. And a 4-0 win over Leicester City at that. She played just a few minutes, but oh, how they mattered. Every touch was a promise, every sprint was a whisper to the world, I belong here. Weeks passed and Michelle stayed close to the first team. She trained hard, listened more than she spoke, and soaked up every minute. Then, in January of 2023, a Women's FA Cup match against Leeds United. The score was already in Arsenal's favor, but Michelle still wanted her moment. In the 80th minute, the ball bounced in the box. It wasn't perfect, angled slightly awkward, but Michelle didn't hesitate. She struck it low and hard with her right foot. The net rippled. The crowd cheered. Her first senior goal. She didn't leap in celebration, she just smiled, eyes wide with joy, and jogged back with her hands out, waiting for her teammates. Back at home that night, she watched the replay over and over. That goal, her first, was later nominated for Arsenal's Goal of the Month. She came second. Only Bukayo Saka beat her. Not bad, her brother teased, for an Arsenal fan. Michelle grinned. We're just getting started. She was right. That year, Michelle ended the season as top scorer for Arsenal's academy squad. But more importantly, she was now walking a path very few ever got to tread. Success doesn't always travel in a straight line, even for someone like Michelle Agyemang. After scoring for Arsenal and earning attention across the Women's Super League, Michelle had a choice to make. Stay and fight for minutes at a club full of international stars, or go and find her own rhythm, somewhere she could start, lead, and grow. So in August 2023, Michelle joined Watford FC in the Championship on a dual registration agreement. A step down in division, some said, but for Michelle, it wasn't about the spotlight. It was about the journey. She wanted to play every minute she could, feel the weight of expectation carry the game on her shoulders. Our first match came in early September against London City Lionesses. She wore yellow and black now, not red, but her heart still beat the same on the pitch. She ran the channels, battled defenders, created chances, but something didn't feel quite right. A week later, the news came. Injury. A setback that would keep her off the field for the rest of the fall. At first, it stung. The training pitch turned into a place for bike sprints, resistance bands, and long, quiet afternoons in recovery rooms. The roar of the crowd replaced by the hum of a treadmill. But Michelle didn't sulk. She studied. She watched footage. She wrote in a notebook, little reminders, questions, plays she wanted to master. She turned frustration into fuel. And when the new year arrived, she did a different Michelle. So did a different Michelle. Stronger, wiser, and hungry. On February 4th, 2024, Michelle returned. Watford was stuck at the bottom of the table. The pressure was building. The opponent, Birmingham City. Michelle didn't just come back, she came back with thunder. A goal in the first half, another in the second. 2 goals, 3 points. One massive lift for her team. Her teammates lifted her off the ground at full time. The Watford fans sang her name, and somewhere in the stands a young girl in an Arsenal jersey stood on her seat beaming. Michelle Agyemang was back. There are some phone calls that change everything. And on a quiet morning in April of 2025, Michelle Agyemang got one of those calls. She had just finished a light training session with Brighton when our coach pulled her aside. "There's someone who wants to speak with you," he said, handing the phone over with a grin. On the other end of the line was a voice from the England national team. "Michelle," it said, "we'd like to call you up." Michelle's heart skipped, her fingers tingled. She had dreamt of this moment 1,000 times, wearing the white shirt of England, standing tall during the national anthem, hearing the crowd sing. Now it was happening. She was 19 years old, and she was heading into camp with the senior Lionesses. 2 days later, England faced Belgium in a UEFA Nations League match. The game was tight, the tempo fierce, and the stadium full. Michelle sat on the bench, nerves humming, but deep down she was ready. In the 80th minute, the coach called her name. "Michelle, you're in." She stood up, stretched her arms, pulled her shirt tight, and jogged to the sideline. The fourth official raised the board. The announcer read her name. "Making her debut for England, Michelle Agyemang." She ran on, heart pounding, but not from fear, from excitement, from belief. And then, just 41 seconds later, it happened. A cross came in, a flick, a bounce. Michelle reacted faster than anyone. She swept the ball into the net. Goal. England 2, Belgium 3. Her teammates swarmed her, laughing, shouting, cheering. The crowd roared. The coaches beamed. Michelle just smiled wide and shook her head. "Did that really just happen?" she whispered. It had. Her first England cap. Her first England goal, all in under a minute. After the match, she sat quietly in the dressing room, still in her kit, her hands resting on her knees. An FA staff member approached her with a slip of paper. It had the number on it, 234. "Legacy number," the staffer explained. "You're the 234th woman to play for England." Michelle stared at her number. So many had come before her. Legends, trailblazers, warriors. Now her name was on that list too. Forever. From the bench, Michelle Agyemang sat with her eyes locked on the pitch. The stadium lights shimmered above. Stadion Lichtenberg and Zurich, but things on the field weren't so bright. England were losing. It was the Euro 2025 quarterfinal, and Sweden had stunned the Lionesses. First came Aslani's goal just 2 minutes in, then Blackstenius made it 2 before the half-hour mark. Now, with just over 10 minutes left to play, the scoreboard still read, England 0, Sweden 2. Michelle gripped the edge of her seat. She could feel her heartbeat in her fingertips. Coach Serino Bigman turned to the bench. "Agyemang," she said, "get ready." Michelle stood, no nerves, no second guessing. She tied her laces tight, tugged her jersey down, and jogged to the sideline with her usual quiet focus. "This is why I'm here," she thought. She'd scored goals her whole life, but this one, if it came, could save England. She stepped onto the pitch. The roar of the crowd swirled around her, but Michelle turned it out. She wasn't chasing the moment. She was preparing for it. Then came the spark. Chloe Kelly's cross, Lucy Bronze's header, goal, 1-2. Michelle didn't celebrate wildly. She ran back into position. There was still work to do. They were still down a goal. And then, the incredible, just 2 minutes later, it happened. Another delivery in the box, bodies flying, defenders scrambling, the ball bounced loose. Michelle was already moving. She darted forward, read the ricochet, and arrived before the rest. One smooth step, one calm finish. Goal, 2-2. Her teammates swarmed her, arms wrapped around her. Cheers rigged down from the stands. Michelle stayed composed though, smiling just slightly as if to say, "This is what I do." She had just equalized in a European quarterfinal at 19 years old. But even more than that, she had rescued her team. Sweden, stunned, fought back. The game stretched into extra time, then penalties. It was chaos, players cramped, tempers flared, blood ran down Hannah Hampton's face, but she stood tall. Jennifer Falk, Sweden's keeper, made a record 4 saves, but when it came time to win it, she missed. Lucy Bronze buried her shot, and Smilia Holmberg fired over the bar. England won 3-2 on penalties. The sun was beginning to set over the stadium, casting a warm golden light across the rooftops. The England team bus rolled the quiet Swiss streets, past cheering fans and waving flags. Inside, Michelle Agyemang sat by the window, her journal resting on her lap. She wasn't talking, she wasn't scrolling, she was thinking. Tomorrow was the Euro 2025 final. England versus Spain. The biggest stage, the brightest lights. Just 19 years old, Michelle was ready to step into it. But before she tied her boots, before she walked into the roar of the stadium, she opened her notebook and flipped to the first page. There, in neat handwriting, were 3 words her father had once told her. Agyemang means savior. He had told her more than that. It means savior of a nation, he said. It's a name carried by warriors, by leaders, people who show up when their people need them most. At the time, Michelle had nodded politely and tucked the words away. But now, after scoring equalising goals against Sweden and Italy, after turning games around when England were slipping, after carrying hope on her shoulders, those words rang loud and true. She wasn't just here to play. She was here to protect the dream, to keep England alive, to rise when it mattered. She smiled softly and whispered to herself, I know what my name means. The bus pulled to a stop, the stadium towered ahead. Fans crowded the gates, flags waved, and from somewhere in the crowd, Michelle heard it. Sweet Agyemang, ba ba ba. It was silly. It was joyful, and it was hers. That night in the hotel, as teammates drifted off to sleep and the city outside quieted, Michelle stepped onto the balcony. She looked out at the stars and thought about everything. The girl in South Ockendon who played until the streetlights flickered on, and the ball girl at Wembley, eyes wide with wonder. The teenager who scored for Arsenal, the substitute who saved her country, the lionesses on the brink of a final. Michelle Agyemang, savior of a nation. She had never asked for the title, but when the moment came, she wore it like armor. And tomorrow, she would carry it onto the field, not for herself, but for every dreamer who ever whispered, maybe next time. So tonight, as you close your eyes, remember Michelle's name. Not just how it sounds when fans sing it, but what it means. Savior of a nation. Remember, the greatness doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, waits, and then shines when the world needs it most. Maybe your name holds something powerful too. And maybe, just maybe, they will sing your name. But tomorrow, they will likely sing, Sweet Agyemang, ba ba ba. Sleep well and dream big, soccer friends.
Thank you for joining us on this enchanting journey through the world of Soccer Bedtime Stories. As we reach the end of this episode, I want to express my gratitude for your presence and support. Your engagement means the world to us, and we invite you to become an integral part of our vibrant community. Make sure to subscribe and follow. This will not only keep the magic alive, but also help shape the stories we bring to you. We're eager to hear your feedback, suggestions, and the topics that ignite your passion. Feel free to reach out to us at soccerbedtimestories@gmail.com. Together we'll create a community that celebrates the magic of the beautiful game. Now, sleep well and dream big, soccer friends.